Hey everybody, what's going on? Looks like we only have three players so far for the Halloween edition of the tournament, which is very disappointing to say the least. I don't, yeah, I figured since it was Halloween, we might have some lower turnout, but no one really said that they weren't going to show up, so it is a bit disappointing that we don't have more people today, or at least people could have said something, but it is what it is. So right now we got four people. I think if Jonathan joins, we'll have five. We don't have any Benjamin. Or Benjamin supposed to join? Yes. So we got six now. Okay, so we got late arriving crowd. Oh, we got Nathan. Nathan jumped in the last second. All right, so at least we have some of the stronger players. This might be a tough tournament for Austin, but let's see what happens here. Okay, who do we have now? We have Alex jumped in. Okay, we got seven. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to help Benjamin out here. So yeah, so we got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. So Austin is the odd person out this one, but if Benjamin jumps in, okay, we got Jonathan. So Jonathan and Austin should get paired, I think. Here we go. All right, so let's look at one of their games here. So we have Jonathan is going to go for the four move checkmate, and I want to see what Austin does to stop it. And Austin's rating is up to 634, which is quite good. I didn't realize he was rated that high, to be honest. So that's good to see. And we do have up to 8 players, so the turnout is not fantastic, but maybe my pessimism from earlier in the video is I feel a lot happier now. So bishop here is a good developing move. The problem is, like, after a move like c3, it's going to attack the bishop and also the d4 square. So when I say it's a good developing move, it's good to get our piece developed, of course, right? We want to move our pieces off of the back rank, so we want to move all these guys into the game. But we want to try to find the most accurate squares for our piece, of course. So I think this bishop doesn't belong here unless the knight's on c3 already. So most likely we should probably put the bishop here. And I'm really surprised Jonathan's thinking so long. I assume he's going to play queen h5 here, threatening this pawn and threatening the checkmate. And I want to see what Austin does here. So probably the best move for black is to play queen e7 here. I hope that Austin doesn't play knight c6. I'm worried that Austin might play something like knight c6. He might, yeah. So here's just going to get four move checkmated. So yeah, this is something that we'll talk about in class with Austin. Yeah, this is not what we want. And Jonathan throws in a nice GG there, which is a nice touch. So yeah, like I said, we have two threats, right? This queen's attacking the pawn, so we have two attackers on the pawn and only one defender. And we're also threatening to win the e5 pawn. So it looks to me the only way to meet both those threats is to play queen e7 here. I guess queen f6, right? Queen f6 is another idea. So either way, either queen move, it both protects the f7 and the e5 square, and that's those are the two threats. So we have to deal with both of those. So let's look at Josiah versus Vincent. So Vincent has been improving a lot, but it looks like the first game isn't going so great for him. So what happened here? So we had Scandinavian. Yeah, queen d7 isn't the right move because you're blocking your bishop from developing. So there's actually quite a few moves for the queen here. You could just bring the queen back to d8, although that is a bit conservative, but it's definitely a move here. The other move you could play is queen to a5, which is one of the main moves here. And the other idea, which is kind of getting popular in the last couple of years, is queen to d6. So it looks like I missed most of the game here. So yeah, queen d6 is a possible move here. So what happened? So queen d7, bishop there. Here I like to see c6, although knight c6 is also okay, but I prefer to see c6, just picking up the tempo on the bishop here. So knight c6 kind of has this annoying pin, so it looks like Josiah is trying to play knight e5 next. Okay, a6, a very good move. But yes, we still have this move. Knight e5 was a nice in-between move from Josiah. So I assume queen d6 is played. Queen there. So the problem with queen there, right, is we're allowing knight takes c6, hitting the queen. And then after the pawn takes, bishop takes c6. But I do want to, I think that knight e5 was a very nice move from Josiah. So just ignoring that his bishop is under attack, yeah, knight e5 was a very nice move. Taking with the bishop. I think we should have definitely taken with the knight first. Queen there, that's just, so what's going on here? Yeah, these two knights do a good job protecting these squares, and why that's very relevant, I was thinking we might have an idea of queen e4 check, attacking the king and the knight, but of course that won't work here because this knight will just take. So I hope since we have so few kids that all the kids can. It does feel, to be honest, like I'm doing more and more work to get less and less students to these tournaments, which I don't really get that, to be honest. Like I think the tournaments are kind of one of the fun things that we do in chess class. So I was hoping that it would be really easy to get more students to join. All right. So anyway, let's go through the game here. So we have take, castle. Okay. So very good development from Josiah. I don't. Okay. I guess we're picking up a tempo on the knight. I prefer to see us get our other piece developed. Right. We should play like knight f6 here. Seems logical to me. Let's see what happens here. Knight there. So knight there I don't like from Josiah. So I see his idea is he wants to play knight takes c7, forking the king and the rook here. But the problem is after we play bishop takes c6, we're protecting this square. So I think as black here, we'd be very happy to give away our rook and a pawn for both of these knights. Again, even though all these pieces are worth the same amount of points, right? Like 2 knights is worth 6 points, and a rook and a pawn is also worth 6 points. Generally speaking, giving away the 2 minor pieces is bad. You don't want to be the side that loses the 2 minor pieces, because you're essentially giving away 2 pieces that are developed here for a piece that hasn't moved yet. Okay, so we did that. Okay, so what went wrong here? So I think that Vincent is still fine. Okay, so all this looks fine. Here we're just losing a pawn, right? There's 2 attackers and only 1 defender. And another thing that's really bad about this e5 move is we're opening up the d file. And yeah, now the white king, the black king is just going to be very exposed here. Yeah, so, and notice that we're just moving the same piece around, right? We got to get our other piece developed. So it looks like we have to play knight f6 here to me, because if we move this bishop anywhere, we're going to hang our g7 pawn. And if we lose our g7 pawn, we're going to lose our rook as well. So I think we have to play knight f6, even though it doesn't look like the prettiest move in the world, because our pawn structure could get ruined if white just takes our knight. We do have to get our pieces developed at some point. White's not up that much material, but white is the one with all the lead in development here, right? Like these 2 rooks are ready to jump into the d file and the e file. Probably this rook's going to come to the e file, and this other rook will come to the d file. And black is just so far behind in development here. So here we have rook e1, very nice move, right? Taking advantage of discovered attack. So even after like bishop takes here, bishop takes g7 is going to be a very, very good move for white here. Rook d2 is also fine. So this just loses a piece, right? Because we have bishop c3 with the discovered check, and then we pick up the bishop. So I want to see if Josiah found that. Yeah, very nice. And now we have a pin piece. So I see, and this bishop is hanging. So the position for black is really falling apart here. Okay. So who should we look at now? Let's look at Alex and Charles. So Alex is a fun player to analyze because he's very, very aggressive, and he likes to sacrifice his pieces a lot. And Charles is also a very strong player. So bishop d6, there's some very strong Cuban players that I've faced that like this bishop d6 line a lot. Man, it's disappointing. I'm drawing a blank on the person's name, but I can remember the chess moves they play. So I don't know what that says about me. What is his name? It'll come to me. So anyway, though, normally we'll play something like bishop c5 here. The problem with bishop d6 a lot of times is we're blocking the d pawn from moving, so we can't get our light square bishop developed. But essentially, what you're hoping for in some lines is that white ends up taking your knight, and then you could take back with this pawn. Although in this position, that doesn't look like it's going to happen. And the player's name is Alberto Hernandez, just came to me. But yeah, a lot of times, like if the bishop's already on b5, for example, we're kind of hoping that they're going to take our knight. And then if we can take it with this pawn, all of our problems are solved, because then we can develop our light square bishop, and our dark square bishop makes a lot more sense on this square now. Okay, d4. So I like this move from Alex, trying to open the position up. Okay. And yeah, typically, like, it is just even trading this knight for this knight. But notice that after we take, we're really allowing the white queen to improve. And this is a problematic because we don't have any more minor pieces that can attack this queen on d4 easily. And we're also allowing our opponent's queen to get to a nice central square. And the reason why all this is important is because now a move like e5 is very strong here. So e5, just forking the bishop and the knight, is a tough threat to deal with here. So I think we might have to play queen e7 here. Yeah, castle. Okay, so if we play e5 here, that runs into rook e8. So I think Alex made the right decision by castling here. Queen e7, very nice move. So I assume we're going to see something like bishop g5. Rook e1, also a very, very reasonable move from Alex here. So this is a good showing from Alex so far. This is like a lot more patient chess, which is really, really good. So I do like the idea of playing knight d5, right? This is a move we should be thinking about, attacking the queen and the knight. But I'd much prefer it if we have the bishop on g5 first. So I think we should play bishop g5 first. Or also, I scratched all that. I think we can just play e5 here, right? I guess e5, there is a pin on our e-pawn. So for that reason, I think bishop g5 is incredibly strong once again. Like bishop g5, then knight d5 is coming. Like if they try to play something like c6 to prevent knight d5, then we have e5 just winning a piece. Because after this bishop moves, notice that your rooks are connected. So your rooks both protect each other. Yeah, and notice we couldn't take with the pawn here because of the pin. So I think that black has wiggled out of this very nicely. I think bishop e5 is a good move. c6 is also fine what Charles played. I like bishop e5 though, just because then we could move our pawn. Maybe we have to be slightly concerned about a move like f4 in the future, but I think we should be okay. Maybe for that, maybe bishop c5 is even stronger than bishop e5. This way we don't have to worry about our bishop getting trapped. Okay, c6 though, like I said, is also fine. Okay, bishop there. So I'm just a little bit, well, not really. Now we can go back this way, so we shouldn't, yeah, the bishop shouldn't be in that much harm. Okay, this is a very nice game. I'm really, really impressed with this game from both Charles and Alex here. d6, very nice move. Bishop g4 is coming. Yeah, this is nice. This is good chess here. I'm trying to figure out the knockout blow. I sort of want to go for something like h5 and h4 here. But after h5, I'm not sure what I like after bishop here. Unless because we can't play f6 because there's a pin here. So it's interesting. Because we ideally want to play bishop f3. So, because we play bishop f3 and it's safe, then we have queen g2 threat. And the only way for white to stop it would be to play queen f1. So what should we do here? This is a really interesting position. Again, I think both guys played extremely well here. So what do we see? Rook there. Okay, I think that's very logical. c4 I don't fully understand. Okay, rook. Well, very nice rook lift. So yeah, c4 allows takes away the bishop attacking this square. So rook e6 and rook here. What exactly is Alex going to do about that? Okay, the bishop was hanging. Okay, never mind. Okay, we have the bishop here. So what's going on here? So rook here. I think the better move was rook f6, because if we could play rook f6, then we can play bishop here. And yeah, I think that might have been a slight improvement, because rook g6, what exactly is the rook doing here? Yeah, I think rook f6 was the move here. So we can just take that pawn, right? Because we have the bishop. So it's easy to miss these bishop retreating moves, so I'm curious if Charles... Yeah, so I think Charles might have missed that the bishop can retreat. So we could have just played rook takes pawn here. Backwards moves are always the easiest moves to miss in chess. I think a lot of people would agree to that statement. Okay, so there. Rook f3. I like bishop f3 here again. I think bishop f3 forcing queen here. I think this makes a lot of sense. But rook f3 also seems logical to me. Okay, now can we take that? Yeah, good. Very high level game here. So we just have to move the rook out of the way so we can play bishop f3. So I think here we could even try a move like rook f5, attacking the bishop, picking up a tempo. And if the pawn takes, the point of my previous move is I want to play bishop f3. And I think we're just done for. So let's see, what do we play here? Okay, rook there. Okay, queen there, bishop there. Okay, all this is good stuff. Okay, rook there. Okay, is he going to take the pawn here? Okay, he's going for the back rank mate, so h6. Very nice move. Okay. What's going on here? Okay. Yeah, it feels like Charles is very... So he can just take the bishop here, right? Okay, take that bishop first. But taking that bishop first is a mistake because now this guy is hanging. I think we should just go ahead and take this bishop right away. So this would just be a free piece here. And after a move like rook here, I think if we just play king to g6, we should be perfectly fine here. f6. f5 feels weakening. So white won by checkmate. That was a tough game. Yeah, Alex is just so slippery. He's got a good feel for chess already, I can tell Alex, which is good. Yeah, I think f5, right? We don't need to... That move sort of weakens our light squares. It allows this pawn to be captured. I think the easiest move is just play rook takes b3. I think is very, very simple. So who's the 10th player? We got 10 players now? Who else we get? We got... Who's the newest? Oh, we got Kimmy. Secret noob just slipped in. What's going on? Oh, Nathan's still playing against Max. Okay, so we should look at this game. So we got a good... So it looks like Nathan is going to convert this. So Max is playing d6 now against d4. Okay, that's interesting. So he's just transposing back to his perk that he likes. And I'm curious if Max hangs the... d6 pawn. That has been an issue. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, e5. Okay, oh, that looks good. d5. Okay, so Max played c6 before he played knight here. So I think this is an improvement because in the prior games he had the knight on d7 already. And after a move like c6, white was just taking and then this pawn was falling. So here... Yeah, so I think Max found the improvement. This is good to see. So he's figuring out his own weaknesses in his prior play and learning from it. Second, we have 11 players, but only 8 people are in game. So are people not signed in? Oh, so Nathan, Kimmy. Okay, so I guess they're doing the pairings now. Oh, we have Brian here. Okay, good. Brian's here. Okay, cool. So b6. b6. Yeah, Max plays this move a lot. I don't think b6 is bad. I don't think it's good either. It's kind of... I feel like it's not the most direct way to play it, but probably put in an engine, and the engine will say b6 is the best move. The point of b6 is just to get the bishop on this diagonal, but again, I'm not that convinced it belongs on this diagonal. I don't know where the light square bishop belongs in this opening, to be honest. That's kind of the problem part. Like, I don't think rook e8 was right. I think what you should be playing for as black here is moving the knight here and then striving for f5. So anytime your opponent plays this d5 push, almost like instinctively, because the perk is it's sort of transposed to a King's Indian defense. So one of the ideas is we're supposed to move this knight somewhere and play f5. So we could have moved the knight to e8, of course, if the rook wasn't here. Another idea I think is we're supposed to play h6, and then if the bishop doesn't take the knight, we're supposed to aim for knight h7 next move, and then try to play f5. And you can see if we want to play f5 that our rook is much better on the f file because we want our rook to help support the f5 push. And I know this is all quite advanced, but it is really important. Look at Vincent, man. Vincent's at... Come on, this might be Vincent. Look at this. How come no one's getting paired though? It's kind of... I don't understand why they're not getting paired. Okay, so let's go. Okay, b6, queen d2, nice developing moves. a5 I like. Okay, so we have a very close position, so it's just a matter of where's the light square bishop going. Okay, rook back there. Okay, all this seems fine. Okay, so Max is going for the f5 push, which we talked about in class. Okay, excellent. Yeah, so far I like Max's position a lot. I think he should go for f4 here. So I guess he's trying... So the idea behind f4 is we just have like a really easy attack on the king side, right? We have this nice pawn chain pointing this way, and this is probably something I'm going to talk about with Max on his next chess class. So then just the ideas of g5, h4, and g4 become very strong. And yeah, it's not easy for white to kind of refute this. No, I don't like rook takes because that allows g4, right? So we have to take with the pawn here. So take with the pawn and then still play f4 if possible. But yeah, taking with the rook does just lose a piece here, so that was a mistake. Yeah, now this e4 square just looks like monstrous also. So that's another reason why I think we want to take with the pawn. And maybe my idea of f4 right away was a bit, maybe that's not the precise move order, because after f4 we are giving away the e4 square for our opponent's pieces. So I think after we take here, maybe we have to be a bit more patient in building up the attack. Something like knight f6. Like, I think our queen is very misplaced on c7. I'd much rather it get to h4. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but I know this move is definitely not right. Yeah, now the g5 pawn just looks incredibly weak. That's a really nice move from Nathan. Yeah, very nice job, Nathan, taking advantage of the e4 square. So he's showing some very good positional understanding here. Yeah, taking the d pawn. So that's something we talked about a lot in class. Simplifying, okay, that's fine. I don't know if that was the best move, knight takes f6, but it seems perfectly reasonable to me. So what do we have to play here? Probably bishop d3. Okay. Yeah, Nathan is showing a lot of chess understanding. So I don't think I guess we could play rook f2 here. Okay. And I want to play rook g1. We got to go after. No, that move I don't like. I don't hate it, but I don't really get the point, I guess. I think he's trying to run away with his king, Nathan, but his king was actually very safe on h1. And if we could play rook to g1, right now we're just putting a lot of pressure on this g pawn. Okay, so here. So I like, yeah, it's interesting. He's running away with his king. Yeah, I really like the plan now. Although yeah, I really like this idea a lot actually. Yeah, this is good stuff from Nathan, showing a very good understanding of king safety. So very nice threat from Max. He's threatening rook takes h2. This is not an easy move to deal with. I guess probably rook h1 is the passive move. I think we could play h3 here. I think h3 is or that is even better. Okay, so that just gives the rook. Okay, so yeah, this looks like it's falling apart now. Nice win for Nathan there. So what's going on here? Do we have some more? Okay, so it looks like we got some more games. Who haven't we looked at? We haven't looked at Brian. We did look at Max, but let's look at one of Brian's games. So I want to see what Brian is working on these days. So Brian's playing perfectly fine so far. If we're gonna play bishop b5 and then just bring the bishop back to d3, it makes more sense to me just to play bishop d3 right away. Because if you see what happened, right? If we just play bishop d3 right away, it's Black's turn. But by playing it like this, it's still Black's turn, and we allowed this bishop to get to d7. So we basically gave Black a free tempo in this position. And those things matter, right? Tempos matter a lot in chess. So I'm trying to figure out how Brian can make use of this d5 square. This looks like the big weakness to me in Black's position. b3. I can't stop Brian from playing this. Although I think it does make more sense in this game than it has in some other games. So I think we should play knight a4 and then go for c4 and get a Maroczy bind, and then just bring the knight back to c3. So I think it's one of those positions where we can be a bit patient here. Knight d5? No, knight d5 just drops a pawn, doesn't it? Yeah, it just drops a pawn. So yeah, we just got to count the attackers versus defenders. Yeah, this is something we should be. How much time do you spend on this move? I guess it doesn't. 18 seconds. Okay, so he spent a fair amount of time on it, but if this bishop wasn't here, it would be a great move, because then we could we could play this bishop takes h7 idea and take our opponent's queen. But this bishop on d2 kind of spoils everything. So that was one of the things I was afraid of. Again, I really think we should just play knight a4, be very patient, play pawn to c4 to get more control of the d5 square, and then just bring the knight back to c3. And I feel like we're going to have a very, very good position there. So same thing for Max, right? We're just giving away pawns. Here we have 1, 2, 3 attackers versus 2 defenders. Like, and to be honest, and sometimes in class I feel like I'm asking these questions too much. But then when I watch the games, I realize, that we're still missing this stuff a bunch. So that's why I have to keep asking. I promise I don't want to keep asking you guys these questions. But it's a large part of chess, just counting the attackers versus defenders. So I have to keep doing it until I notice that we're not missing these stuff in our games. Because, yeah, there's no real point for knight d4. For a second, I thought maybe the queen was trapped, and that's why Max played it. But I think just queen a5 is fine, and then bring the queen back to c7 or d8 should be perfectly fine for the black queen here. Yeah, so now I like Brian's position quite a bit here because this pawn is a weakness, and these 2 bishops feel a bit more active than these 2 bishops. I'm not saying it's like a huge advantage for white, although I wouldn't be surprised if it's a substantial advantage here. So rook e1, nice. We just hung a piece. Oh, come on, Brian. What's your... Okay, I got to be patient. So we just have to figure out the last threat. Maybe I owe Brian an apology here. So I guess the idea that Max has after rook takes e7, we're going to play queen g5, threatening the rook and a checkmate. And is there no way to stop both those threats? So yeah, I owe an apology. You guys should be saying, hey, teacher, how could you miss this? Such an easy idea. Although it is a really nice idea from Max here. So f3, bishop there. Okay, in between move. So I feel like Max is probably going to play queen d5 here, attacking the bishop, and then we have to find bishop f2. Okay, they didn't do that. Okay. Now Max is controlling the e-file. This is good stuff. Good stuff. Man, the games are getting really good here. Okay, d5. What can we play here? Bishop e2. Yeah, this f3 move is kind of a weakness, but so I think we have to play. So now he wants to go rook here. So I think we have to play f4 here. I think f4 should be fine for white here. Because notice with this pawn on d5 that this bishop on c6 is not nearly as good. It lost a lot of its scope. So yeah, I feel like f4 is the move here. If we don't find f4, we might be in trouble. Because we don't really have a good move from Brian. Yes, yes, yes. Man, I feel like a proud teacher. I mean, this is great. This is great to see. f4 is a beautiful move. Because this queen doesn't have very many good squares. If we go queen here, then f5, right? f5 just forks the rook and the queen here. So yeah, there we go. Oh man, am I proud of Brian here. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And I'm proud of Max too. I know that Brian's had a few tough tournaments, so I want to give Brian some kudos when I can. Man, f5, very nice. f4, f5, beautiful play from Brian here. So he's going to be in some time pressure, Brian, so I don't know if he's going to convert the game or not. But no matter what happens, I feel like this was a lot of good things for Brian. A lot of good things that I'm observing for Brian in this game. Yeah, I like f4, f5 was perfect. So we just take the rook here. Yeah, good. And now we just want to trade the queens off. So I think queen d3 here with the idea of queen e3 or even bishop e3 makes a lot of sense. Also, queen d3 with the idea of queen h3 seems very logical to me. But we got to try to trade the queens off here. Because we're just up a whole rook now, so there's really nothing to be concerned about. We just have to make decisive moves, try to trade the pieces. I know it's a tough position for Brian though, so I mean there's a lot going on still. But basically white has no threats here, so I think if we could just try to simplify the position. Okay, g3 is fine. Wouldn't be my first choice of move, but I think it's a perfectly okay move. The reason it's not my first choice is because bishop g5 feels a bit strong to me, and now we have ideas of bishop here. Bishop there I don't like. Yeah, we're down material, right? Don't trade pieces. So Brian should just be feel very thankful for getting this bishop. Yeah, and this is something, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of experience, of course, that the kids don't have still. But here I'd just be so happy to get to trade the bishops off because you're up a piece, right? Remember, when you're up material, you want to trade the pieces off. And then after the pawn takes, we could play like queen d4, looks very strong, putting some more pressure on this guy. Bishop g4 feels very strong. Probably queen d4 though. I think queen d4 is the best move here. I assume that Max might play e5, but then we have queen to... Yeah, very nice, very nice. Again, Brian might lose this game on time. He only has 1:12 left, and I know Brian's a more patient player than I am, meaning he's going to use his time. But I really like the way he's playing this. Like queen g4 and then queen f3 attacking this pawn. Yeah, very nice chess, very nice. So what can we play here? Maybe rook here makes a lot of sense, just protecting the bishop. Queen f3 though I think is definitely... No, queen f3 runs into d4. Do we have to be a bit worried? Man, this is nice, nice. And then bishop here is very strong. Bishop here is also strong. Man, this is good stuff. Very good stuff. So we have to play queen e2 here. If we play queen anywhere else, we're in a pin. Queen here, we lose. We can also play queen f5. I apologize. We can also play queen f5 here. Queen f5 is probably the best move now. Good, good. So if we can get this pawn, because now we have a pin, right? We have rook takes here. This is the best game I've ever seen Brian play. I've seen Brian play lots of good games, but I think this is my favorite one of his games. Ooh, yeah, we have king f2. Are we getting mated here? Oh, no. No, 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 no. So was queen f5 a blunder? Because that was my choice too. Oh, that's so unfortunate. That's a blunder, huh? We had to play... Oh, no, no, yeah, I'm chess blind this too. We had bishop c4 here, right? That was the best move. Yeah, I hope Brian keeps his head up after that one though. That was a good game. Yeah, I totally missed this too. This was a nice tactic from Max. Queen takes g3. Yeah, we have to take, right? And now we're just getting mated no matter... Wow. Yeah, I have to be honest, I missed that tactic too. I shouldn't have missed that tactic, but I did. Yeah, queen e2, that was the other idea. It doesn't work. So the only move that works here is bishop c4. Everything else loses. Oh, that's a tough one. That was a tough one. Let's look at Vincent and Josiah here. Yeah, and the kids, they still don't want to push the c pawn. I told them this every class. Every class, when we move the pawn in front of our queen, we got to push our c pawn as well. So I tell them this every class. Every class. Yep, yep. Neither side wants to listen to me. I don't know what to do. So this move is not particularly strong, right? Because we could just play rook c1 here. So let's see. Yeah, rook c1. Very nice move from Vincent. No, this is bad for black, right? We don't want to be the side giving up the two minor pieces. So even if we get the rook and the pawn, giving up our two minor pieces is a mistake. So I think that... Yeah, another thing is like now not moving our c-pawn is kind of not such a big deal because there's no c-pawn on the board anymore. So having our knight here doesn't block the c-pawn from moving. So I really like, so I think e4, yeah, very nice. I really like Vincent's position here a ton. Yeah, this is very good for Vincent. We could take here and then take here, I believe. Yeah, I think that's the best idea. Just, what else could we play here? I'm wondering if we could even just take here first. I guess not. I don't think we can just give this bishop away. I was looking at some interesting sacrifices here, but I don't think they quite work. Yeah, I think just taking here is fine, though. Knight e5. Okay, I'd like to see Vincent get his pieces developed here. Like, I'd like to see bishop e2 and then castle maybe. Or maybe you can get your bishop a bit more active. Maybe bishop d3 is the better move. But I don't want to see... I mean, the knight coming to e5 is a very nice move in the future, but we got to get our king safe first. So I think if we play bishop d3, castle, then a move like knight e5 is very strong. Who sent me a message? Okay, so what's going on here? So there. Okay, yeah, now we're getting to that. So I think we're still doing perfectly fine, Vincent, but we're sort of getting to that problem where we're moving the same piece over and over. I think we just take the c-pawn, though. Yeah, Vincent. Oh, and, I'm sorry. The rook was hanging, right? The rook's just hanging. So are we going to see that? Are we going to see that, Vincent? Ah, yeah, we had the rook hanging. Get your piece developed, right? Get your piece developed. Still a lot of good things that are happening here. Yeah, good. Get castled. No, I don't get that move. No, 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 no. That was the first mistake Vincent made because now we're opening up the e-file. Just get your king castled. Get castled. Remember, that's one of our. We got to castle quickly. So yeah, now we're in some trouble. I think we have to play king d. Okay, so that's just another pawn. Knight f. Knight there. Man, this is great stuff, though. The improvement is unbelievable. So we have to play king d2 now, or castle. Okay, I'm a liar again. So he wants to remove the defender here. So I think now we just play bishop f3 is fine. So yeah, basically I think Josiah wants to sacrifice his rook for the knight and then take the bishop here. So I think, yeah, I think just bishop here should be perfectly fine. We are going to lose this pawn, but I don't think it's that big of a deal because we do have a bit of a material advantage. That might be even a better move than what I suggested. So, although I don't know what to play after c6 here. c6 would bother me. No, here we have no, here we have a4. So I think a4 is a good move. Although after c6 we still are in some trouble. So here, okay, so now we have c6, and I'm wondering, we can't just take, can we? So we have to play rook here, but and the good thing is we're not getting back rank mated because the knight can go there. So there. Yeah, not rook takes. I think we have to play bishop takes because the problem with rook takes is we're actually just hanging our bishop here as well. So we needed to play bishop takes pawn here, and if they do go for a back rank mate with rook takes, we have rook takes here, and then after rook a1 check, we have knight f1, and we're perfectly fine. Yeah, so that's the problem, right? We had the bishop was hanging the whole time. Okay, so yeah, now we're lost. Man, the quality of the games is just improving so much, though. I mean, this was a very nice game from Vincent. Just minor things here and there, like right if Vincent sees that we have, if Vincent saw bishop takes rook here, we'd be winning. And then all the ideas that Vincent's playing, I think, are very good. It's just the move order just a bit off sometimes. So like in this position, instead of playing d5, which I think is a move that we're probably going to want to play in the future, I think we just need to prepare this move first. Like if we castle, play rook over to d1, and then play d5, it's probably an incredibly strong idea. So we just need to work on the move order a bit. But everything else, yeah, like d4 I didn't really like. I think here, yeah, I think here we should just play rook. No, rook there hangs the rook. Okay, d4. So what do we play here? Maybe d4 wasn't as bad as I thought. Yeah, I'm not sure. d4. Yeah, I mean, rook b1 is excellent. There's a lot of good stuff. Just yeah, just if we took with the bishop here, we would be perfectly fine. And the good thing about taking the bishop is we always have this bishop check we can throw in if we need to. So we're really fine. And also with the bishop on this diagonal, if the diagonal opens up, we can bring the bishop back to f1 and block. So all these things are good. All right, nice game though, nice game. Let's look at Benjamin and Charles here. Yeah, so take with the knight, right, Benjamin? We gotta get our pieces off the back rank. So take with the knight here. So get your pieces off the back rank. So I like a lot of what Benjamin's doing. I would prefer to see this knight get developed, but maybe the reason for moving the bishop is because he wants to put the knight here. So maybe bishop g5 does make a lot of sense as far as development goes. I don't know. I don't like this trade, right? We shouldn't just give away our bishops for knights voluntarily. For the most part, we want to wait to see if black attacks our bishop first. So I think here, if we just play knight b to d2, we'll be perfectly fine. This is kind of interesting, though. Yeah, same thing for Charles. I really don't like. Okay, so I think bishop takes knight is a pretty significant mistake here for a couple of reasons. One, we have the bishop pair, right? So if you have the two bishop advantage, we have the dark square bishop and the light square bishop, and our opponent only has the light square bishop. What that means is we can control both the light squares and the dark squares, and that could be a big advantage, especially if the position opens up. So that's one reason I don't like taking playing knight, bishop takes knight here. The second reason I don't like it is because now look at how you've improved the white pawn structure. So this, if we compare the pawn structure, like these are kind of an ugly pawn structure. So we have two isolated pawns that are also double pawns, and then we have this pawn is fine because we could play like f3, but it's not the it's fine. But these two pawns are the real weakness. And if we compare that position to this, like now these pawns are just great pawns. Like we have the classical pawn center, so we're stopping the black pieces from occupying these squares for the moment. We could play a move like c3 if we need to. We could also play c4 and knight c3. So we just have a ton of options for white here. So so I think we did kind of spoil our advantage. F5. So I'm trying to think about, can we trap the bishop now? I don't know if we can. I want to play f3 or even h3. So after h3, pawn takes here. I guess if we take back with the bishop, they have bishop e2 then. So maybe f3 is a bit more precise. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, taking, that's probably also fine. The quality of the games is unbelievable, though. Yeah, I feel really proud of the kids. This is a big improvement. G4. G4 is a weakening move, right? These are kind of moves that weaken your king, because after G4, rook F4, right? Rook here. How are we ever getting rid of this rook now? So yeah, I wouldn't like allowing the rook there. Rook F3 also kind of same idea. Although rook F3 runs into knight G5 here. Knight G5 just attacking both of these rooks. So I think that rook F4 was definitely a better move here. All right, so let's see what happens from here. Rook D5. Yeah, attacking the pin piece. Well, that's good stuff from Benjamin. Good stuff from Benjamin. So that's just gonna win a pawn and win. It should be enough to win the game. So we should play rook takes. I don't think we want. If we take with the pawn, now we're pinning ourselves. Although we do have rook a8, so maybe it's not such a big deal taking with the pawn. I think that's Benjamin's idea. Yeah, we have rook here. And then we could always play the other rook to b2 and then just start marching the pawn up the board. Yeah, if we play rook a7 here, I think that rook takes here is fine. Yeah, so rook b2 is a very nice move. And then this knight's, this knight doesn't have very many good, it only has knight c5 it can move to. And I think we just push the pawn and to use the Yasser Seirawan, just push them, baby. That was the Yasser Seirawan song that they made. So here we have rook a7, pinning the knight to the king, and this is gonna win the game. Yeah, very nice move from Benjamin. Push them, baby. So yeah, here we have so this move is fine. I was gonna say we have the rook and the king on the same file, so we could have just played rook f2 to force a trade of the rooks because this rook would have been pinned. So here we should just play king g2, right, attacking the rook. So I think Benjamin was afraid of putting the king and the rook on the same second rank here. So I understand why I brought the king up. We could have just played king here though, and then the rook wouldn't have access to this square because the king could just take it. But I like the way that Benjamin is playing this as well. Black won by Why did Benjamin resign for? Huh? Why did he resign? No, come on. I don't want the tournament to be like this. Come on. Is he just giving the points away on purpose? What in the world? All right, let's look at Max and Josiah's game. So they usually play some strong games. So let's see what happens here. And like I said many times, I think Max is one of the most talented people that I coach. Josiah too, for that matter. So I'm really happy that I'm seeing the other kids are starting to give Max better and better games, which which makes me extremely happy because I mean I think the tournament's better if it's more competitive. So I don't like Bishop B4 at all from Josiah here because after Bishop B4. Not only do we pick up a tempo with C3, but also we have the queen on the same rank as this bishop. So what that means is that we have ideas of bishop takes f7, possibly just capturing this bishop. So yeah, I think bishop b4 doesn't do too much. Yeah, this is lose a piece, right? Queen e5 check, and then we take here. Yeah, queen d3 is not the best move. So this is something I tell the kids a lot too, is we got to be careful with one of our pieces of attack, just ignoring that and creating our own threats. You have to be very, very precise when you make moves like this because what can happen just like this position is if your opponent can create another threat, which they could here with queen e5 check, now there's two threats. Now your king's under attack and your bishop's under attack, and you have to make sure that you can deal with both of those threats. So like if the bishop can retreat to e7, then you could deal with both those threats. But with the pawn on c5, you can't, right? Because the pawn is blocking the bishop's retreat. And let me send a message to the group chat and see if anyone from the... I think that the turnout was actually okay today. We're missing Steven because he's on vacation. So Steven is definitely one of the players that almost always plays, and it's one of the better players we have. But yeah, he went on vacation, which is awesome. So I'm glad he got to go on vacation. Yeah, I really like. I think Josiah's gonna play bishop. Yeah, the thing about Josiah is I feel like Josiah is very, very alert tactically, and I think he's trying to go for tricks too much. So he wants to play here with the idea of bishop h3, and I just don't think this is as good as just playing bishop e6 right away. So the thing I like about it is it makes your opponent have to figure out what to do. The bad thing is that there's a term in chess called cheapos, and cheapos it's almost like an insulting thing to say. It's like your opponent's just playing for these cheap tricks all the time, and if your opponent spots the tricks, then they're not so good. Because after bishop h3, white has a very easy way of dealing with this. They can just play queen to f3, attacking the bishop and keeping contact with this square. And after the bishop moves to g4, like we probably could just play queen g3 here, and I don't think this is such a terrible thing for... I like the way that Max played this as well. Although, I kind of take that back a little bit. I don't like that the light squares are so weakened. Yeah, notice that with this pawn here, and notice that white doesn't have a light square bishop, that these three pawns are quite weak now. No, we shouldn't trade. So white won by back rank checkmate. Oh, no. I tricked them. So here we had a really nice deflection idea. So notice we have one attacker on the king and one defender. So this is something we talk about all the time in class. So we want to just deflect. So if we play bishop to g2 here, we would deflect the king away from the rook here. because notice the king can't go to f2 because of this bishop. And then when the king takes the bishop, we just take the rook here. We do lose the b7 pawn, which isn't the best thing in the world for us, but I think we're still doing fine. Because we do have, if the knight does take the pawn, we do have rook d2 check, attacking the king and the b2 pawn at the same time. So let's look at one of Nathan's games. So let's look at Alex and Nathan. So what's going on here? So it looks like they're moving fast. Okay, we have Carol Khan. The Carol Khan win. No, I don't mean that, Nathan. I'm just joking a bit. Actually, if you look, Wonder Leong, very, very strong American junior player. I think he's going to be probably, I think he has a chance to be the best player in the U.S., to be honest. I think Jeffrey Zhang might be the guy he has to surpass for that in maybe 5 or 6 years. Or maybe even longer, like 7 or 8 years. But I think I like Wonder Leong style a lot. Anyway, I was just saying that he's been playing the Carol Khan basically every game against e4 in the U.S. Championship. Knight b5. Yeah, these are the kind of moves from Alex I don't really like. Like, we're moving the same piece in the opening twice, and we have no threat here at all. Like, knight c7 is not a threat. If we just play a6 here, the knight has to come back to c3, and we didn't accomplish anything. He has a tricky style, though, I've noticed. So I noticed that the other kids haven't quite figured out what to do against Alex yet. Although here, yeah, here we're just dropping a pawn. He definitely has the trickiest style of anyone that I teach. Yeah, like queen b4, it's a very nice move. Like probably a lot of my students would just take here and just be down 2 pawns with nothing to show for it. Although rook, could we have rook c1 here? Could we have just taken, take, and then rook c1? What's the anecdote to that? Do we have an anecdote? No, I think I think this was a mistake from Nathan, actually. As hard as it is to believe, I think queen takes c2 just loses, because after, like I said, queen takes, bishop takes, rook c1, there's nowhere to move the bishop and protect this square. And then after we play rook to c8 check, we're going to pick up this rook here. So probably we need to castle first, and then after we castle, we can go for this idea. Queen c5. I much prefer, I think I like to see, yeah, I think rook c1. So notice with the queen on b4 that the king can't castle, because it'd have to castle through a check, which is not allowed. So I really like rook c1 here a bunch. I assume that Nathan would play knight d7, and then maybe our attack does kind of fizzle out here. The problem is we can't really castle. Or can we? Can we castle and can we trap the queen here? So I'm thinking like castle. So first I'm thinking rook here, then knight here, then we castle, queen takes here, and then we have rook fe1. And now the black queen doesn't have any safe squares to move to. So the question then is after a5, are we okay? Because after a5, take, rook b8. I don't know. It's pretty double-edged. It's pretty double-edged here. What's going on, Brian? How many games has Brian played? Because Brian's played much better than he deserves, than his result would indicate. So let's look at one of Brian's games. I'm feeling bad for Brian just from the standpoint that I think he's improving a lot, and he might not be getting justified with the results that he wants, and that's why I feel bad, because I do think he's playing much better chess. e5. So I think e5 we just have knight g. Okay, yeah, we're just giving 2 minutes. Okay, so 2 attackers versus 1 defenders. We can't do this. So I think what we're supposed to play, I think that knight g4 might be okay here. Typically we have ideas of like d5, but d5 is not going to work here because after the pawn takes a knight, it's also attacking the bishop. But I think after knight g4, bishop f4, you even have ideas of like g5 here. It's really complicated, but I think we can play knight g4 here. But this is just going to lose a pawn here, and that just lose. All right, good. I'm not happy that Charles lost, of course, but I'm happy to see Brian get a win. Brian has played very well this tournament. He deserves a better score, in my opinion. Sometimes he just gets in a little time pressure, and I think that's because he doubts himself a little bit. Brian also he's been getting into some tough positions as well. But yeah, I really, the game he played against Max was just a phenomenal game. he was finding a lot of the ideas that I thought were very difficult to find pretty quickly. Nice, nice. Pick up those tempos. Queen e2 check. Yeah, very nice. Pick up the queen. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, Brian is playing well. I mean, the fact that he only has 1 out of 3, we got a lot of strong players. I mean, it's great, man. The kids are playing so well. Let's look at Vincent versus Alex. So we got the perk defense. And instead of knight c3, I think we can play e5 here. So typically, black is supposed to play d6 first. And the point of d6 is just to attack the e5 square in case white pushes the pawn here. So after knight f6, I think we can play e5. And then if the knight goes to d5, we just have the move c4. Yeah, so notice we play e5 now. It's not as good. I think we're supposed to take probably, okay, knight here. I know knight d7 is risky because it allows some e6 ideas sometimes. Knight g4 I'm not that familiar with because what if we just play h3 after that? So knight there. What in the world? No, no, no. No, Alex is... the one that, Alex has no fear. He has literally no fear as a chess player. Now we're losing the rook though, right? So black's just going to remove the defender. So they should just take here, and then after we take back, take here. And yeah, queen h1 is very strong. So I'm still missing it though. So I'm surprised Alex is missing this. He's very tactically alert player. So this is just a standard remove the defender. So the knight's protecting the rook. You're attacking the rook. So we have one attacker and one defender. So we have a few ideas, right? You have deflection. That's when you move a piece away from defending this piece. You have remove the defender when you just capture. Some other ideas are like blocking. You have some ideas of blocking. Okay, so here, e5. So I think we can just take, okay, there's fine. I think we could also just take the pawn probably. Okay, so he's in deep thought here. So we got to get our king safe. So I think, so what are we up? We're only up 3 points here. I thought we'd be up a lot more. Yeah, queen d2 with the idea of castle and queenside. So I like this move a lot. The only thing I was thinking about is our knight getting trapped here. That's the only thing I was a bit worried about. Because like after rook here, if we move the knight and then they take our pawn, how are we getting castled exactly? That was kind of the only thing I was worried about here. Although queen d2, maybe we just give up the knight. Maybe we just play queen takes g5, and maybe we're just up a pawn here with a better position. Yeah, so I wonder if we just go for this. Like I don't know. This is very risky. Very risky. I'm not 100% sure what's going on. Maybe knight takes g5 is the best move. No, because then after the rook takes here, it protects this square. Okay, so I think Alex basically has to go for taking here. No, this I don't agree with at all. I don't even really get what the threat is. We're not threatening anything. I just castle. Okay, so castle queenside. This he's going to take here. So we have to play a3 first, and then we should castle queenside, I believe. I was thinking about knight takes g5 also. This is another move, but I'm a little worried. Okay, bishop takes e2. I guess knight takes h7. Because if we take, okay, so now we got a pin. What a crazy game! All these games are getting so good. I feel like overwhelmed with joy the kids are playing so well. I mean, it's just I can't believe the improvement. I know that when no, this just loses. Just knight takes. Pawn takes is fine too, but I think knight takes is even simpler. Yeah, I mean, I know the kids are getting better from just paying attention to what they're doing in class, of course, but I didn't realize they were improving this much. Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome to see. Queen there, I don't get. So just Yeah, just castle queenside here. Even if you lose this pawn, it's not the end of the world. Well, I guess he is going to play knight c3. The cool thing is after knight c3 check, we actually have queen takes c3 is a good move for white here because of the pin on the d file here. So I'm pretty sure Alex is going to play knight c3 check here, and I think that Vincent will just move his king here, which is also fine. We're just up a bunch of material here. I don't think we have anything to worry about. That move, that's a risky move. Okay, now I just like knight b3 a bunch. I think after knight b3, we're just winning. No, 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 no. What am I talking about? The knight guards the c. No, the best move for white is here. My apologies. Ah, close, close. The best move is actually just bishop here, though, because we have the pin. Oh, I don't know why I'm missing that. This is such an easy tactic. So yeah, the knight's guarding the c4 square, so we just have bishop c4, pinning the queen to the king, and that's just that's all she wrote. Although c4, right? C4 is cutting off. So this is an example of blocking, right? So we have one defender versus one attacker. So Vincent went for this idea of blocking. So he should have just blocked with the bishop instead of the pawn. But either way, this is all good. So just take the knight now. After queen a5 check, there's no worries at all. We just move the king back to b1. But again, these are patterns I've seen from years of experience. So I understand the kids might be afraid of these kind of moves, but it's actually nothing at all. So queen a5 is coming. We're just going to play king back to b1, and there's no threat here. I can't believe how well the kids are playing. It's just so incredible, so incredible. So yeah, king b1. King b1 is the only move here. So yeah, there's really nothing to think about here. We only have one move anyway. I guess the only problem is our knight is a little offsides here, but it shouldn't matter. We just have so much, such a big material advantage. Yes, this is a nice move from Alex. So I think we should play. This is a nice move, very nice move. So what should we do about this? No, 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 no. Now we're gonna. Oh, we might be getting mated now. So we have to play. I think we have. I don't know if we have to, but no, no. He's losing the thread of the position, Vincent. So everything was going. It's still going well. I don't think he's mated, but I think he's lost the thread of the position though, and that just means he kind of lost the. Yeah, now we're in a lot of trouble. It's Alex, man. He's just so sneaky. He never gives up. That move I didn't like at all. We should have played rook takes. Yeah, this move I didn't care for. Now I think. Oh, we have rook here? Unbelievable. Because this bishop's in the way. We don't have this escape square. Unbelievable. I don't know how Alex gets away with this. He's slippery, this kid. He's slippery. Yeah, just queen takes. We have mate in one here. Yeah, we could have just taken with the queen there. This was a great game, though. I think Vincent um, he just missed one or two very minor things. Probably if he would have played a3, kicking the knight away instead of castling queens, like play a3, right? Attack the knight and then castle queenside, and probably the rest of the game is extremely easy for him to win. So we got king here, rook here, knight here, take, and checkmate. It's a nice game, though. Nice game from both sides. Alex will start. He will start having some trouble though if he keeps sacrificing his pieces against good players. Um, Did we lose everyone? Where did everyone go? Everyone just said that's enough? All right. Play till you're tired. That's fair. So what do we got? We got Max and Nathan here. So the usual Caro-Kann. Bishop c4. So the more standard move is Bishop d3. But I always had like a warm spot for Bishop c4 just because I always thought. So I understand the point of trading the light square bishops is to get your queen developed, but I always just felt like, this light square bishop, it's a good piece for black. It's not a bad piece, but I always felt like the light square bishop for white could be somewhat active because, man, Nathan's just beating everyone. So is he losing? Yeah, Nathan's just showing prodigious is the word of the day. Prodigious understanding of chess. But he's put a lot of work in also. So what I was trying to say before the game finished completely was I always thought Bishop c4 was an interesting idea. It does kind of, there's an expression in chess called biting into granite, and granite's just like a very solid structure. So it's biting into granite here. Very very solid type of rock. So that might be the drawback of the light square bishop being on this diagonal. But I always felt like if you could ever get d5 in at some point, you really could open up the position for this diagonal for this bishop. The problem is it's very very hard to ever get d5 in. So that is the issue. So yeah, but the main point being, I always kind of was fascinated with Caro-Kann positions where you keep your light square bishop. I always thought that was an interesting idea. I don't know about that move. I don't care for that move that much. Yeah, I like Max's position. I think everything is fine here. B4. B4 just creates a huge hole on C4 in my opinion. So I don't know about this move B4. I understand he's going for like he's going for a king storm on the queen side with A5 and A4, but just weakening the C4 square leaves a bad impression to me. I mean, Nathan is just, man, that's a nice move. F5 is a very nice move. I think probably the best move for white might be rook H5 and then rook here. But I assume after rook H5, Nathan was going to take here. And then I don't know what's going on. Then I think queen C4. Queen C4 strikes me as a move that we should be playing as white here at some point. Whether on this move or whether we should build up C4. So here, Max missed a mate in 2, right? We have queen H5 check, followed by queen F7 mate. So that would have been game over. So it looks like, yeah, I don't like this check, right? We have our opponent's king on the edge of the board. We have the rook here controlling all the squares in the 7th rank. After we give this check here, we basically just let the black king wiggle out of the attack. So queen H5, I mean, of course, there's a mate in 2 here, but just on general principles anyway, I think that keeping the rook here, unless you see like a very decisive attack, leaving the rook here is generally much better than moving the rook here. Yeah, and just this is a tough loss for Max because I'm sure he thought he was winning, and then he just missed this back ring checkmate. Yeah, this is all good stuff. This is all good stuff. So let's look at. So it looks like we lost a lot of players, which is to be expected. I think the kids get a bit tired. Oh, we got George on now. Okay, let's look at George's game. Who's George? George versus Vincent. Okay, these two have played some very good games in class. So here we have the 4 knights, which it's an opening that if I never saw again in my life, I wouldn't be devastated by it. Not because it's a bad opening, just the kids. We see it a lot. It's a perfectly fine opening. Some other ideas, but besides this, are just playing like C3 here. The thing that I'm getting a bit worried about with George's play is I think he's the only kid that listens to me too much in class. So I think when I say like get your pieces out, control the center, get your king castle, which are all very good principles to follow, I think he only does those things. He doesn't like think about, oh, I could play knight takes e5 here, because he's like, well, I'm moving the same piece twice. But these rules can be broken from time to time, right? Like we can move the knight again because we're winning something. If we're capturing material, that's a reason we can move the piece twice. So knight c3 is perfectly fine, but I would like to see like just a little bit more, because I know George has creativity in his chess. That's not, I have no question about that. So I just like to see him use his creativity a bit more, George. But like I said, I think he's the only kid that really listens to me pretty much everything I say. So I can't be upset about that. So I thought the point of knight takes bishop here was to remove the defender of the e4 square. And I was wondering, so I guess after knight takes e4, we have a couple of options for white here. One of the cool moves we could play is just bishop takes f7 check. And the point being that after king takes f7, we have queen d5 check, attacking the king and the knight at the same time. Also, after knight takes here, we also have queen to d5 right away. But I think that might not be as good because this move knight d6 is a bit annoying, hitting the bishop and protecting the f7 square and allowing black to castle next turn. So yeah, castle there. So here I think Vincent should definitely go for this pawn now. So now this is just a free pawn. Yeah, and if George is going to play the bishop to g5, he might as well do it right away. Like putting the bishop on e3 and then g5 isn't the most logical play, but probably he realized that his pawn was hanging and he went for this pin idea. So I see kind of what his idea was. This was a move I tried to talk about with George. He played a game against Esther, where after queen e2, he allowed his opponent to play knight d4, hitting the queen and the knight. But I did mention to George that if we had like a pawn attacking the d4 square, which he has here, he can consider playing the queen to e2 because now knight d4 would just be a terrible move for black because we just capture. So yeah, here we just take on f. Yeah, here I think we just try to mess up black's pawn structure. I think we just take twice and claim we have a better position because the pawn structure for black is bad. So like take, like I think black would be in a lot of trouble if they don't take with the queen here. Like allowing your pawn structure to get ruined with queen still on the board is very dangerous for your king. So basically I think we should take, queen takes, queen, pawn takes. And now I kind of like the idea of f4, trying to open up the position and trying to target these two double pawns with the rook on f1. So this strikes me as a solid way to play. I also like the way George is playing in that he's trying to keep the two bishop advantage, so I understand moving the bishop back. These are kind of the imbalances that as chess players we're always thinking about. So we can keep the bishop pair by moving the bishop here, but I think in this position, taking away the shelter for the black king and giving them these like ugly pawns on f7, f6, and h6 might be slightly more beneficial for white. Yeah, but everything George is doing is perfect here. Bishop d5. So bishop d5 is interesting because if the knight takes, pawn takes, we can try to claim we're trapping this bishop. Not the bishop, the knight. But I would like my queen on e2 to take away the c4 square then. So what happened here? Knight c4, that just hangs a piece. Okay, so Vincent's probably going to regret that move. So very nice job from George there, trading off one of the pieces since he's up material. So that's very, very smart chess. Remember, when you're up material, you want to initiate trades of equal value pieces. So think of it like in basketball. If it's 5-on-5, you have an even game. If you get 5 players versus 4 players, then you have a nice advantage, right? Extra players have a big advantage. But if you get 1 player versus 0 players or 2 players versus 1 player, then you have a huge advantage. So you're just trying to, it's called simplification. You're trying to simplify the position. So here we have bishop b4. Bishop b4 would be a nice move from George, just pinning the knight to the queen. So that was one of the ideas I kind of had spotted a bit earlier in the position. If the knight takes the bishop, then of course you just take the queen, and you're very happy about this. And it's a really difficult pin to get out of. I don't see any way to get out of this pin because I guess we could play. I guess we could play a5 here. That does give up a pawn, but at least we do get out of the pin that way. Or we could also try something like a6 with queen a7 to get out of the pin. But then I think we're in a lot of trouble as well after that because queen d6 also looks very strong. So yeah, we're in a really good position here as white. Okay, I'd be a little nervous giving away the b pawn, right? Because so we're threatening the knight here, but I'd be worried about queen takes b2 hitting the bishop, and also we have back rank checkmate ideas. So I thought George played this very well, except he should have just taken the knight here. If he would have taken the knight here, that would have been perfectly done from George. I think the way that George played is good still, but I feel like we did miss out on something here. Yeah, we just missed out on something here, George. So I think I think we would be good. So yeah, here, George, I think we had queen takes g6, picking up a pawn and attacking the king looked very reasonable to me. We are kind of in this nasty pin though, so I guess king f1 is forced. Yeah, I understand why George is thinking this is not the easiest thing in the world to get out of. I think king f1 is forced. Nah, because that just hangs the bishop. Yeah, that's a tough one. That was a tough tactic to get out of. Good resiliency by Vincent. George definitely let this position slip a tad, but yeah, both sides played pretty well. Like here, I just play queen e4 as black and try to simplify. This is also perfectly fine. I think this is a good move. Yeah, now we just take, right, and now this past a pawn is gonna be the victor. Probably the kids are too young to know the Mighty Mouse song, but it's like what was it? Here I come to save the day. So that's what this a pawn is. This a pawn is like a superhero. Here I come to save the day. If there's any Andy Kaufman fans, I don't know if we have any Andy Kaufman fans. Probably not the kids. The kids probably don't know who Andy Kaufman is, but any parents, I was always a big fan of his Mighty Mouse skit that he would do. Here I come to save the day. I'll try to stop singing because I know it's not a pleasant sound. So that will be the end of singing for today's video. Yeah, just push the pawn here, Vincent. Is this going to be a 3-4 repetition, though? If this is a 3-4 repetition, if George plays queen g3 here, I think he could declare a draw. I think. We have 1, 2. Yeah, George is definitely losing here, right? He's down a knight, so I'm not sure why he didn't, make his opponent figure out what to do. So whenever you decide that's losing, if you see your opponent can't make any progress, just okay, so now he should be playing queen e3 back in again, and yeah, I don't understand why George is. Okay, so on the one hand, I admire George's fighting spirit here, but on the other hand, he's clearly losing, right? He's down a knight. Black has 3 pawns against 2 pawns. So as white here, if we could hold the draw, we'd be extremely happy. But watch George prove me wrong and win this position somehow. I don't see how he's going to win this position, but watch him prove me wrong somehow. Yeah, we're missing blocking. We're just moving the king too much. I think queen d5 would be nice. It's kind of funny because George is the one playing like he's winning, and Vincent's the one playing like he wants to draw here, which I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand. All right, well, this is a game we'll talk about in class. I think Vincent and George are in different classes now, so we won't be able to talk to them about it together. So what's going on? So we have 20. I think Nathan's won at least 26 games in a row in this tournament. I'm expecting him to challenge me to a bullet game, but I guess not. I guess not today. He doesn't want to embarrass his coach on video again, so I appreciate that. Oh, we got the girls here. Let's see. Can we get a game from Crystal or Elizabeth? So what's going on here? Any games for Crystal? All right, Crystal versus Elizabeth. This is what the fans want to see. So we got e4, e5. Okay, f6. This is a very bad move for black here. We talk about this in class too, but I know it's a lot. I know that everyone has a lot of things they have to learn for school and remember, but this move just loses pretty much immediately. So we're weakening this diagonal to our king. We're also weakening this diagonal. So the best move for white here is actually just play knight takes. I forget you can't actually make any moves on this. So the best move for white is actually just take, and then the point being that if black takes back with the f pawn, we play queen h5 check, attacking the king and the pawn. And there's a lot to look at. We've looked at this in class many times, but I think I'll go over this with the. I think I'm going to go over this on class on Wednesday because we do need to learn this. Yeah, f6 is a pretty big mistake in this position. Yeah, especially if we're going to play knight c6 anyway. Just play knight c6 right away, right? Remember, these two knights fight for the same two central squares. Let me send Christina a message. And I'm kind of happy, right? We have 14 players, not for the whole tournament, but I like that people come and go from the tournament. Like, that's one of the things I really liked about the arena tournament compared to the other. When we're doing the Swiss tournament, where everyone's just playing 5 games a day, is it was pretty boring for the kids, I think. Like, they'll play a game, then they have to wait a bit. So I think this is much better. Okay, so yeah, this way people come, they go. If they, they don't want to play anymore, they don't have to play anymore. Yeah, knight c6 I don't get because we're not threatening anything. Remember, we want to get our pieces developed quickly, so we shouldn't be moving the same piece over and over. We got all these other pieces that we want to move. So moving the same piece over and over again doesn't make any sense to me, especially if we're not creating any threats. Like knight takes c2 is not a threat because the queen's protecting it. And what this does is it allows white to play c3 and d4 and get the classic pawn center. Although I believe we're still just able to play knight takes e5 here, actually, now that I think about it some more. So knight takes e5, I'm pretty sure is just completely winning for white here. I would say I'm 99.9% sure that knight takes e5 is just completely winning. Unless this move d5. Okay. I'm going to change my confidence level to like 90, I don't know, maybe like 92% now. So knight takes e5, d5 is a bit annoying. I don't know. I guess we play c3 then. I'm not sure. Now my confidence in this is it's now I'm doubting myself a bit. So I'm not sure. But yeah, here we just take a piece, so that's not good. And I like the way that Crystal opened up the center, right? So she has the lead in development. She's up a piece. The black king is still stuck in the center while the white king is castled. So opening up the center with a move like d4 makes a ton of sense to me here. Queen g4. I think knight f5 might be the right move here. White won by checkmate. Okay. What happened? So queen g4, take. So I don't understand. Yeah, bishop f4 is not the right move for Crystal. Like black should just take with the bishop here. Okay, take with the knight. Okay, there. Okay, nice game, nice game. How come Christina's not in the tournament? I know she wanted to play. I promised Christina that I would help her get in the tournament, this one. So I feel bad if I can't keep my word here. All right, let's look at Charles and Max here. So I just learned something interesting that they're classmates, or not, they're schoolmates. I guess they go to the same grade but different classes. Not to share all of their life story, but I thought that was cool that they didn't know they were taking lessons from me for the longest time. I guess like they did individually, they didn't know the other person was taking lessons with me. Oh, we have the Scots. So Scots is an opening I've worked with Max quite a bit actually, but not really with Charles. So this is interesting to me. And I told Max that actually the interesting move for black here, so I can't fault anyone for taking the piece back, but the real interesting move for black here is queen f6. So queen f6, we're attacking the knight, and we're also threatening a checkmate on f2. So queen f6 is actually a very, very interesting move in this opening. Yeah, again, I don't understand, we're just giving our, yeah, there's, this, I think this move d5 and putting a piece on g5, these are the two most common squares where we give away our pieces. Like here we just have 1, 2, 3 attackers, 1, 2 defenders. I don't see any tricks that Max has here. I would have liked to have seen just actually queen takes. I think would have been perfectly fine. Just say, hey, I'm up a pawn. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, I like this move, queen e2 from Charles. I think it's a very nice in-between move. So yeah, we're just up a clean pawn. Queen c4. I don't know about queen c4. Like I like to develop my bishop and put the rook here. I guess queen c4, we're attacking this pawn, and we're going to play bishop e2 and castle. So I guess queen c4 also seems logical to me. Here I like bishop to d2, picking up the tempo. If we face queen e5 check, bishop e2, and then if the queen wants to take the pawn, we just can castle here. Or we could play queen takes c6 first. I'm not sure which is better, and have a good position here. F3 is fine. I think we can just play bishop e3 though. So I don't care if we can't castle. We're just up so much material. So the point being, after bishop e3, take, just king takes, and that's fine. Now the rooks are connected. I don't even think we have any good checks. Like we could play queen here, give a check, but then we have the idea of bringing the queen back to f3, and life is good. Yeah, so this is one of those instances, right? We have one piece attacked, and we just ignore it and create another threat. So this is just going to lose because queen c6 check, and then we pick up the bishop. Queen a6. Queen a6 isn't as precise, I think, because of this rook b6 move. I think queen c6 was a bit more accurate. But either way, because we have this other check. Oh, now we have queen takes g4. Yeah, here we could even take him with the queen here. And then after the king goes here, we have queen f4 at the very least, trading off queens. We also have some other threats, I'm sure, here. Here I would have liked to have seen castle, right? Just get your rook on the f-file and give a check. Yeah, here we just need to castle queenside. I mean, I think all of this is good what Charles is doing, but I don't really like weakening our own king in the process. Yeah, now g6, and now your queen is sort of out of the equation a bit. I mean, I guess we could take here. You're just up 11 points, so all we got to do is really trade everything. Yeah, I think Charles made this a bit... So his instincts were good to go after the black king here, and this should work for him. I'm not worried about that, but it just feels like we weakened our own king in the process a lot more than we needed to. So yeah, queen here now. This should do the trick. A little bit more active. I prefer to see the king a bit more active. Why is Max trading pieces? He's down so much material. Yeah, this I don't get. Whew. Oh man, the tactics are coming. The tactics are coming. But just trade the queens, right? You're up material, trade the pieces. Just make your life simple. Play queen takes, king takes, castle, and then take a nap because all the hard work is done. And we only got 2 minutes. I think Max might be saved by the bell here. I wonder if he's aware of that. Because usually Max plays extremely quick, so he might be trying to run the timeout. Which is one of the things I really don't like about arena tournaments is that after the like. I think when the time goes to 0, if you're in the middle of a game, you should finish the game. I don't know if like just no one agrees with me on that. That could be one thing. It could also be that it's more difficult to program. I don't really know. But I think like if you're able to start a game, even if you start the game with say 1 second, I think if you make a move. So if the game starts and no side makes a move, I could see canceling the game. But even if say you get paired with like 5 seconds, you make a move. There's still like 2 seconds in the arena. I think you should get to finish that game. Again, I don't know if anyone agrees with me, but that's how I feel about it. Because I don't like the strategy where you can just run the timeout. That's the thing that I don't like. I understand the benefit of everyone finishing at the same time, but I don't like that you can just stall at the end. That's something I don't really agree with. Because I think that's what Max is doing. I think he's just stalling here. So yeah, looks like we had a good tournament from everyone. Vincent got off to the hot start and he played a lot of good games. I think Vincent could have scored better. Good job, Benjamin. Brian's game against Max was a thing of beauty. It was just unfortunate that it didn't turn out so well. All right, at least we got 14 players. Although is there 2 players that are tied or something? How come it's only showing 13 players? Oh, we have 2 players at 9. Okay, ninth place. All right, so it looks like Max is just gonna not move here. So Max is probably having a good laugh right now. So we have Josiah versus Alex. So it looks like Josiah's up a lot of material here. So Nathan didn't quite match his 16-0 performance from last tournament, and I think that's because the quality of play is improving a lot and it's taking more time to win the games. But nevertheless, it's impressive. We got a good player in our hands, Nathan. I can tell he's putting a lot of work in, and he seems to really enjoy playing chess, which I think is the important thing. So I just hope that passion stays with him for many many years. I think he's going to have a bright future. And Max, of course, who's one of the younger kids, right? He's only like 8 or 9, I think. So he's quite a few years younger than some of the other players, playing fantastic. And yeah, it's good. It's good games. I can't believe the games that I saw today. It was impressive. I thought Vincent's doing a lot of good things. I know George is going to take the next step here soon. It was good to have the girls in for the last few games, Crystal and Elizabeth. I wish they could play a little bit more games, but I understand they're busy. Um, yeah, Jonathan, I think, has improved a lot from even a couple months ago. Brian did a lot of good things. It was good to have Kimmy here. Haven't seen Kimmy in a bit. Austin, we're going to work on some things, but I know that Austin will improve too. We'll start working on some more things, but he'll get there. Yeah, let's end the video here. But thanks everyone for playing. I was really disappointed that we only had 3 players when we started, but getting up to 14 is a really good number, and I think we'll keep growing from here. So thanks guys, thanks everyone for playing. Hope you guys have a happy Halloween. Stay safe and eat a lot of delicious candy. Um, Even if you're like, listen to your parents when they say like enough is enough, but try to get to the point where your parents like, okay, you had enough candy. Don't stop yourself before then. Enjoy your Halloween. You only get to be a kid once. Anyway, thanks again, everyone. Enjoy your day, and I'll see everyone in class. All right, bye.